All right, so this week's video, we are answering yet another question from a prospective pilot out there. So let's not waste any time, roll the intro, and we'll get right into it. All right, so this question has been asked over and over again recently, so I felt it best to let's just tackle the topic and discuss what we can with it. So let's just read the question. I have a possibly dumb question, but one I do not know the answer to, so maybe someone can help me out. Well, first off, there is no dumb question. You don't know the industry based off of this question, so there's no dumb question. Ask away. That's what we're here for. With regard to accelerated training, can you do all of your written exams up to CFI before you even step foot in an airplane? And if so, is there a time frame limit in between passing the exams and getting training in an airplane? I've heard some people talk about doing the written first, but I'm unsure how they did that. From a non-aviation career, planning a switch, yada, yada, yada. All right, so let's tackle these questions here. So the first one is can you do all of your writtens before you step in a school? The short answer is yes. The correct answer is probably not. Here's why. There's two types of schools out there. There's Part 61 and Part 141. So let's tackle Part 141 first. Part 141 is very strict, very regimented. They have an approved syllabus by the FAA, the local FSDO, to be able to have their 141 status. With that, in that syllabus, they most likely have an approved ground school, whether it's King's, Sporty's, whatever. There's a ton of them out there. They're going to have one of those ground schools, if it's not their own, built into their syllabus that you have to do. So you're going to have to do their approved ground school to match with their syllabus. Now, can you go and take the written before you go to the 141 school? Yes. But the catch is you're going to still have to do and complete their ground school that's approved. So you can be going back and doing it all over again. So basically you're spending money twice because when you enroll in that program, you're going to pay for things. And one of those is the ground school that they approve. So you can end up paying for ground school twice. So it's not a financially savvy decision to make, in my opinion. But hey, at the end of the day, you do you and you make those decisions for yourself. Now, Part 61, they have more flexibility. So yeah, you could go and do those things. But again, I still recommend reaching out to the school and seeing what they recommend. Because there are some Part 61 schools that have syllabuses that they operate off of. Now, obviously, they're not hardline syllabuses like in a 141 where they have to stick to it, but a lot of them will still try to stick to their syllabuses, and they're going to want you to do a certain ground school because, like, let's say for me, for instance, I recommend to my students that they use Gold Seal Ground School. Why? Because I use the Gold Seal syllabus. So it matches up perfectly. They design their ground school and a syllabus around it, so they go hand in hand. And then the nice thing is when we're looking through the syllabus for Gold Seal with my students, it'll actually reference parts of the ground school that you can go back and you can re-watch or you can reread, however it is you choose to intake that material. So again, yes, you can take the writtens before you get to the school, but I would double check with the school you plan to go to first. Now, there is a major chain flight school out there, well, whatever, I'll just name them, ATP Flight School. They will tell you it's in your best interest to get all the writtens done and out of the way before you show up at their school. So there are schools out there that do things like that. Then there are schools out there that don't. But also, is it really in your best interest to go and do all of these writtens, cram for all of this information, basically test prepping for things that you really don't have an in-depth knowledge on? So you're just practicing and studying for a test, and then you're going to forget it. Whereas if you actually do it as you go through the program, you're going to be learning things in depth. So that way, if you get in a situation in that written test and you don't remember the answer or you don't know the answer, you're going to have a way to figure it out because you're going to know the information. You will have actually learned the information through the training that you have received. So my advice always is to do the writtens as you're going through. So if you're in private, about halfway through, you should be ready to go and take the test. Go and take the written. Instrument, again, halfway through, go and do it. Commercial, you already have the information from private, so you can get that one done quick and out of the way if you really want to. There's not much building onto it. I mean, yes, you're going to have deeper dives into material, but you can still get through the written for commercial, at least from what I've seen, at just having the basic private level knowledge bank in your head to get through those type of things. And then also the CFI is the same. The FIA written, which is a CFI written test. But you can go and yes, you by all means can sign up tomorrow, pay the money, go and take all those tests and have them done before you ever get there. But that's not really the smart way to go and do things. Learn the material, take the tests that way. You're going to be better off for it, especially down the future. If you want to go that CFI route, you're going to have a better understanding of the material, and you're going to have a better understanding of ways to teach it and help people retain it. Because at the end of the day, this isn't some career path based off of your question. I'm going to say career path. But anything else, as far as a safety standpoint, it's not something where you're just taking in information, spitting it out on a piece of paper, and then moving on with your life and never touching on it again. That's not how it works here in aviation, and that's not how you want it to work, because what good is that? Now, are there things you're going to see on these written tests that you're never going to see again? I'm sure. It's just like any other standardized written test we take here in America for just about anything. But again, a lot of it's testing the material that you're learning and you're going to use, whether it's weather theory, weight and balance, aerodynamics, aeromedical stuff. All of that's going to come up again at some point. So it's better to just know it and then be able to answer the questions that way when you're going through a test versus just study prepping for that test, taking the test, having them all done, and then going into flight training and really not having any knowledge to back up anything with that score that you got on your test. Because here's the reality, is when you go to check ride, that test, you have to take that to your check ride with you. The DPE is going to look at it and it's going to tell them the sections that you missed questions on, that you're potentially weak in. And guess what? It's their job to touch on those areas to make sure that you've filled in those blanks that you missed on the written test. So if you just test prep with no knowledge behind it, and then you get, I don't know, call it 5 wrong, well, you got to go and learn that material anyway. But chances are you're going to be learning it from scratch when you're going through. You're not going to have that base there, and you could potentially struggle in the check ride if you're not doing your check ride prep correctly with your CFI. So I want you to be successful. I want you to go out there. I want you to get your ratings, do everything it is that you would dream to achieve in life and within this industry, but be smart about it. So check with the school first, make sure, or not make sure, see if they have an approved one per their syllabus, or if you can do anyone out there that you want. If you can do anyone out there that you want, then by all means go for it. But again, make sure you get that knowledge base with it too, because you are going to see and use that material again. I hope that helps answer your question, and I'll see you next week.